Welcome, everyone, and congratulations. If you are receiving this message, it means that you are part of the mastermind, which means not only did you attend the 28th, but you also registered, gave all of your information, and you've been put into groups. And these groups are anywhere from, 6, 7 to 11, 12, depending on the region that you're in, depending on the level, depending on your language. Level meaning what level you are on the marketing plan. And you're either receiving this and watching this for the first time, you received it via email, and maybe you haven't had your Telegram group set up, or maybe you haven't downloaded Telegram, so you haven't been added to a group, or someone's tried to add you, but you weren't added because you didn't have it. Either way, or by the way, you're actually watching this because it was posted in your Telegram group. This is going to be one of the things that you're going to need to just make sure that you get managed, that you are actually accessing your group, that you have the app. And as you come into the groups, one of the things to realize is that most of you are not going to have the contact information of the other group members. This is not people specifically that are in your organization. These are people that you may or may not know because they are in your region or kind of in your area to some extent. You may have seen them at events. Some of them you may know, some of them you have never known. So they are not contacts in your Telegram and in your phone. So one of the things that you want to do as soon as you are added to a group, and it would be a group that has Mastermind and some other information in the title of the group, you want to introduce yourselves. So you want to give your full name. You want to talk about how long you've been in the business. I would even say where you are, what city you live in, and you can give any type of background that you feel like you want to give, just so that everybody can know you. And then as people do that, and everyone in your group is presenting themselves with that information, then you can start to just save the name of the person in your address contacts, so they show up not as a phone number in the group, but they show up as a name and as a person in the group. So that's really important. The other thing that you're going to want to do, and this is part of being a part of the groups, obviously watching this video is important because this is where we're going to be setting up the assignments for the first month. But one of the assignments is to pick a leader within the group. And what's really important to understand is to really understand that this is a new way that we've never worked before in the company. And this is not the company per se trying to teach or train or lead a group of people. This is the company facilitating, and yes, there will be training and content, but we're really facilitating for you. And so within this group, what's important is that this group, is a group of distributors supported by the company. There will be a regional, or what we call a key account manager, that is in the group. They are not there to, answer every question, just like you'd be calling. It's not having a direct access to someone personally that can answer, about the tickets for the upcoming, events, or some situation that's happening with technology, or an order or something that happened with your distributor. They are not a support person for you. They're basically going to be there to monitor and to support. And part of that support is working with someone that is kind of the leader of the group, and the group needs someone to lead. The suggestion is also that the person that leads, it's leading for a specific amount of time. You can designate a group leader who might be a group leader that is going to be leading for the first month. And what does it mean to be leading this group? Leading the group is like being a leader. It means that you are there to support people, you're there to give ideas, you're there to kind of lead. And yes, it's not your organization, but you're going to be leading in everything about the mastermind, meaning that there's content which we're going to be delivering, and there is an accountability. This is an accountability group, so this is for you guys to have support of each other. Number one, to be in an environment where it's not easy for you to not do what's going to help you improve your business, right? So that's the accountability part of it, is actually being in a group and being accountable to other people, so that you don't just let things slip, and you don't not implement things, and you don't not do things that are going to make a difference for you just because you're in a group. And so, what I would suggest is that you can decide together who wants to be a leader. Often what happens is that someone will say, hey, I'll lead, because it's just kind of a natural want and desire to lead, and a feeling of capacity of being able to lead. Leading in this group would mean that basically they are there as the main support of the group. They are there also with a certain level of accountability, and they see the group as a group that they want to be successful, like really stepping up for the group. And it's kind of unique because they're not in your organization per se, right? So everyone's pretty good at, helping their own people because there's a personal interest. There's another level of leadership where you're there to support people and you don't have the personal interest, right? The personal interest can be, number one, wanting to help some other human being be successful and succeed, but it's not like it's tied to your level in the marketing plan or how much money you're going to make. And so, this is a leadership development structure as well. The suggestion is not to pick one leader that will be the leader forever, but to pick a leader and then to be able to rotate leadership and responsibility. And so the leader has to be seen as the person that will understand, number one, and be really committed and engaged in the group, that's going to be really kind of understanding all the homework, being there also if people do need help, being there also to push sometimes, and to be like, hey, we've got 7 out of 10 that have have already done this. Have you done it? Let's go. Let's think about the group. Let's think about yourself. A leader's not there to be pushy. A leader's not, but to also not be, a pushover, right? Don't be pushy, but don't be a pushover, right? At the same time, to really stand for people and to support people. So enough said about that, but you need to figure out who's going to be the leader of the group for, let's just take it for the first month, okay, over this next period of time until the next mastermind session. And they will be accountable to work with the group, to know what everyone's doing, to support people in getting the tasks done, and to be reporting also and talking to the key account manager so that there's a point person, and that it's not 10 people talking and giving information, but there's really kind of that information being funneled through one person. And we will also be, basically working with the leaders in a certain way, to support them also as they go through the process. And so, what I'll say is that, don't make too much out of it. If 5 people want to be leaders, then just figure out some, I don't know, like the one with the shortest hair, longest hair, oldest amount of time, or most amount of time in the business, shortest amount of time, but come up with some way. Don't make it, this is not a defining, the leader will be the one, and it's really important to be chosen as the one. No, this is going to be a rotating responsibility and opportunity for personal development. So picking a leader is going to be important in the group, and making the introduction, everybody saving each other's contacts so you know who you are. The other thing about this that's really important is that you're being put into a group, and this group of people, whether you see it that way or not, they will end up being some of your really close friends. And when you start to share your life, your goals, your vision, supporting people, investing into other people, it just ends up being this level of quality of relationship, and bonding, which really does make a difference in Herbalife. And I'm sure all of you have experienced that you have certain relationships with certain leaders in Herbalife, and it enhances the quality of your life, the quality of your business, the quality of, just being a part of this company for you. And this is an opportunity to have kind of a new peer group that you wouldn't ordinarily have been put in contact with, okay? The other thing to understand is that this is also, there's accountability, but there's also going to be results. It's not just, kind of doing the things. Obviously, doing versus not doing already makes a difference. But it's also going to be an opportunity to see how groups of people working together, supporting each other, implementing things together at the same time, what kind of results that produces. Because the one part to this that has never happened in this way, is that everyone who's participating in the mastermind, there will be, in a certain sense, kind of eyeballs on you, meaning that that you are now part of a group of people that, because you're in these groups and because you're part of the mastermind, we're going to be listening to you, understanding where you're at in your business, supporting you, and also following and seeing how things are developing for you. Because the goal, again, everyone, is that this gets you to your qualification of president team, and this helps develop president team members. And so those are the goals and the objectives of the program. So we're going to be tracking that. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit more as we talk about kind of the homework and how it all kind of lines up. So once you picked a leader of your group, the next thing is going to be that I'm going to now give you your assignments, okay? And then as a leader of the group and as the participant in the group and part of the mastermind, you're going to want to understand the assignment, you're going to want to do the assignments, and you're going to want to report on having done the assignments. And this is going to be toward until the end of the month, the 30th of September, when we need all of the reporting back on where what you've done, and check the boxes on the assignments. So that way we can actually take all the information. We can see which groups are 100%, everybody completed, which groups completed at 90% or 80%. Now, by the way, as a group, you want to support each other. You want to be 100% group. And we're not going to give you things that are impossible to implement that someone would say, well, I just couldn't. Okay, we are starting off with some very simple things that everybody can check off and say that we did, so we can get to this first, month of completion and have everybody with an opportunity to actually complete and say that they've done it. And this is a journey. This is not a, 1-month program. This is an ongoing program. This is a journey. So at the end of the day, also, don't judge, what the results are of the journey in the first month. Right? This is a process that's new for the company. It's a process that's new for you. And, we are on this journey together. We just know the value that is going to be delivered here, and the outcome is going to be incredible, but it's a process that we're in also. So, let's not judge in the beginning. Whatever expectations you had or didn't have. The way we've designed it is to really be able to give you some things that are going to make a difference on the journey, and things that you are going to be able to say that I did, and that you're better off for having done it 1 month in, and that the next month we do the same thing, and that over time you become more educated, you become more sophisticated, you become more skilled, all right? You have more expertise, you become masters, okay? You are mastering what it is to grow and develop an Herbalife business through time. And this is all going to be showing up in the results, okay? Where your royalty check is growing, okay, is going, how it's growing, how the duplication is happening within your organization, how the development of other tab team members is happening as you are on your journey to president team and they are on their journey to president team. So just the setup for that. So there are basically 4 parts to the assignments that, everybody needs to focus on over, the next few weeks until we get to the 30th, okay? The very first one is the implementation of a system, all right, of the 100 conversation challenge in your organizations. Now, there's different levels of complexity here. Some of you have very big organizations where you've got some legs that, you don't work with very closely, they're independent, they may or may not be in the mastermind, they may or may not want to implement or even understand yet what the 100 conversations are. Some of you are Get team members, and your organizations maybe are not that big yet. And so you're able to manage for yourself the implementation of that system, okay? And some of you are kind of in between. So let me talk just really quickly about what a system is. A system is something that is implemented, which basically, and when we talk system, it's something that you can define as a process that you use within your organization that allows for it to run by itself. That actually is not something that you have to, in the moment, decide what you're going to do and actually say, we're doing this. And I'll give you an example. If you and your organization there's no process and there's no system. And we'll talk about the 100 conversations, right? Because you were all with Eric during the mastermind in the 100 conversations. Now, had Eric not said, hey guys, we're going to do this, we're going to take the next 30 minutes, let's do this exercise, let's start talking to people, here's what it's about, here's what you say, here's what the intention is. If he had not taken all of you and brought you through that process, then you never would have done it. I mean, although some of you might have already kind of had the notion or heard it somewhere before, and you've implemented a power hour, for example, where you were already kind of doing it. That means, by the way, you have a system, by the way, okay? But think of the majority of people that had never done that before. Like, think about your organization who might have never done that before, even if you potentially did, or you did for the first time. Because you did something for the first time, and because Eric, he had to lead you through it, right, and lead the process, it meant that you were part of something, but it was not something that was a system yet. It was not something that was programmed in the business with your organization on a consistent basis that could operate really with or without you. Because had Eric not done that exercise with us, we wouldn't have had it. So that means it wasn't something that was a system in an organization and in a flow. And so what it means for you to implement the 100 conversation challenge as a system within your organization is to figure out exactly all of the steps. Okay, so meaning, and just as an example, and by the way, some of you have already taken action. We've already seen, posts within, some president team chats of, hey, here's a picture of me and my organization. We're at the club. There's 15, 20 people. You can see they're all on their phones and they're doing the challenge, right? So that's amazing. Now, a system would be where you say, on this day, right, with this group of people, we are going to be doing this, and this is going to happen on a regular basis, not a one-off. We just throw everybody together and we say, let's do this. But how is it programmed in your organization so that it runs even if you don't pick up the phone or you don't send a message and say, meet me at the office or at the club, we're going to do this. No, it's something that the organization knows that at the club, the first Monday or the first Sunday or whatever day you're going to choose of every month, that these people will meet there. This is what's going to happen. This is how much time it's going to take. This is how we're going to get the results of it. This is what we're going to then look for every time to see if it's working or not, if it's growing or not. That is implementing a system. And so that is part of your homework, is to actually implement a system over the next, few weeks with your team. And that means that it's clearly defined what you're doing, with who you're doing it, when you're doing it, what's the outcome that you're looking for, how are you going to get the results of actually what happened, how are you going to know if it's really duplicated and is something that's effective. Are you going to do it on one Zoom and invite everyone in your organization? Are you going to ask your tab team members to do it so that they're closer to the people and can do it? Like, are you going to do it physically together where you can? Are you going to do it at the same time connected on Zoom? Is it always going to be on the same, and I love the idea of front loading the month with contacts and doing it on a monthly basis and always having 100 conversations going. So this is what you're going to have to design and implement. And what I would say is part of the value of the group is sharing, because once you've designed it and you share with the group and you say, here's what I did, right? So in your group of, let's say how many ever, 9, 10 people, and one of you starts to say, here's how I'm implementing, here's what my system is, then others can look at it. They can see for themselves. They can see how it can work for themselves. They might tweak it. Some people, they don't have a lot of, ideas. They like to implement. They like to take something and run with it. Some people are much more creative. The power of the group is having all types of people together. So this is one of the assignments. Once you've completed that assignment, and I would share it with the group, by the way, the other thing that I would do is there's a checklist that you're going to be able, there's a link to a Survey Monkey, and you're going to want to go in and say, I completed this. By the way, complete everything that you can, okay? up until the end of the month, so you can go through and then check, 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 and then you can all be completed, right? So you don't need to go every time you do something, but by the end of the month, you want to go through and make sure all 4 of the assignments are complete. So that's one of them, okay? And, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. There is no perfect system. There's just the system that you implement, and then the system that you learn from and that you optimize and improve over time and adjust over time based on what happens. Okay, as your organizations grow, the system will have to change, because maybe in the beginning it was easy for you to get 25 people together, and then when it's 50 or 100 or 250, you're going to have to switch things up to keep it optimized and keep it working the way you want. Okay, so that's assignment number 1. Assignment number 2, and we talked about this in general on the 28th, and I'm going to announce something here that's pretty amazing, but I want to create some context for this first of all. And I want you to imagine, of all of the people that there are in Herbalife, that there are some people that they understand DMO and they understand business flow. For many of you, Amber Wick, for example, she understands business flow. She did an amazing presentation at the extravaganza for the president team about business flow. There's other people like that. There's like Radhika McIdry also. There's other people that anybody actually that's really created an amazing amount of duplication, and an amazing amount of president team, tab team members, being able to do it first line as an example, being able to do it through an organization. They all really have a level of mastery of mastering some type of a DMO and a business flow. And so I want you to imagine being in a conversation with 3 or 4 or 5 people that really are masters at business flow, DMO and business flow. And I bring this to you as a concept because if you were going to sit together and you were going to be with, the top chairman's club members who really were, like very, very, just immersed in talking about business flow and understanding business flow and everything like that, the question that I would ask is, if you were sitting with those 3 or 4 people today, how much of the conversation would you be able to absolutely understand? And understand because you've experienced it yourself, because you've heard the ideas around it so much, you know exactly what's being talked about, and you could also contribute to the conversation, right? You could actually be with them in a conversation, understanding and giving your perspective, giving your opinions about things, giving your experience about things. And the reason I bring it up this way is because, number one, I think you would all see value in being in a conversation with 3 or 4 people like that, and taking everything and understanding everything and being able to contribute. It would really mean that you would be at a level of understanding, educated, sophisticated, to be able to have that conversation. And this is part of our objective for everybody here. One of the themes that came out of the mastermind really was that, for you to get different and better results, it means that your level of education, consciousness about things, sophistication about things, knowledge, expertise needs to improve for you to go out and get a different result. And so this is part of your education. Being a part of this mastermind is putting you together with the greatest minds in different areas that are the most productive, in the areas that they focus on, and having you be elevated in your understanding. And so our very first part of doing this for you on a DMO and a business flow conversation is giving you access to something that no one in Herbalife has had to this date. And this is a conversation, and a mastermind, and a masterclass conversation that Radhika McIdry, coming out of the summit that we had in Los Angeles a couple of years ago, when she did her section at the summit, or it was in honors actually. Normally it's 7,500 royalty and above, just so everybody knows. So a Get team would never have access to that training yet. A Millionaire team that's not at 7,500 would not have access to that training. But she did this training, and out of everyone that was there, when we surveyed, it was the #1 training that they all had the most value from. It was like across the board, the #1 training. And coming out of that, Radhika was asked to do a masterclass explaining kind of her view and understanding and her perception and, you know, how she looks at business flows and the different things that she looks at. And she recorded a 1-hour masterclass, and no one has ever seen this masterclass. It got recorded, it had to go through legal. And so we are going to make this masterclass available to all of you. The masterclass is really in 2 parts. The first part is, it's a 30-minute sections, the importance of business flow. And the second part is how to create a business flow. And I will tell you, because I've watched this, that it really takes attention. You've got to actually be in a place where you can sit down and you can listen to it without distractions to really understand what she's talking about. Now, by the way, some of you are going to get it really, really quickly. Some others, you're going to be like, well, this is very conceptual. This is very high level. You know, I just want to know A plus, you know, what A, B, C, D, E, tell me what to do. One of the things that I'm going to request of you is that no matter how easy or hard it is for you, that you actually listen to the sections, and you might have to listen to it more than once. And that's what I would suggest doing, to be perfectly honest with you, because there's some really valuable things there. The second thing that I would do as you listen to this is not for you to be able to walk away and be like, I got it. I know everything that I need to develop a business flow. Actually, our next mastermind, okay, is going to be about business flow, DMO and business flow. Your goal in watching these 2 videos and then discussing it amongst your peers is to talk about what you got from it, what you understood about it, about maybe the things that you weren't seeing that you heard Radhika talk about that now makes sense for you, and you can maybe see in your business either why things work so well, or maybe why some other things are not working so well. And it really is the beginning of an education, a level of knowledge, a level of sophistication. And we are going to get into the nuts and bolts of business flow when we get together and we talk together in the next masterclass. For us to do that well, what we need from you is a couple of things. Number one, we need for you to really get the level of, you know, what Radhika was actually communicating on, and to discuss it amongst your peers within the, you know, your groups, and to really define the things that you think are like the aha things that you got in there. Number two, the areas that you question, like you're like, oh my God, she talked about this, I just don't get it. Like, I want to understand, like, what does it mean exactly? You know, or when she said that, is this what she meant? And actually communicating with us. And there's going to be something on the form that you're going to be able to fill out that'll say, you know, my question or what I want more information about on the business flow is this. And then as we get all of that information from everyone, then we're going to put it all together. And when we design the next mastermind, which will be based on DMO and business flow, we're going to accumulate everything together and make sure that we can answer all of the questions through the training so that we deliver the most value possible, so that everybody can go out and design their business flows, optimize their business flows, and really have clarity in their business flows. So that is the second part of the assignment. And, you know, if you think about this, it's like taking an hour or 2 a month to educate yourselves in something that's very important to be able to design and build an Herbalife business and scale and duplicate. Like, it's not a lot of time. But this is why the accountability groups are so important, because if you don't have the group, if you don't have the support, if you don't have the content, if you don't have the, you know, the structure for it, are you going to do it? Or are you just going to get caught up in the day-to-day and be distracted, you know, in areas that are not going to give you the knowledge, not going to give you really what you need to be able to take things to the next level? So this, again, is the value of the mastermind, how everything is structured here. The next thing that you need to do is you need to come up with what your business goal is in the next 24 months. And what I would do for the business goal is I would talk about specifically for yourself, like, what is your next goal in the marketing plan? And for some of you, you know, it might be, hey, I'm a Get team member. My next goal, next 24 months, is to become a millionaire team. It's going to depend on where your royalties are. You might say my goal in 24 months is to become a, you know, a 7.5 mil team. It could even be 6,000 royalty, right? It doesn't matter what it is, but given where your business is today, given the fact that you're now in this mastermind, given the things that you're learning, the question will really be, what is your goal in the next 24 months? And number one, for yourself, actually defining it. And you can define a date around it if you want. And it can be within 24 months, I will be, listen, by, September 2026, I will be at this level. Great. It could be, by the way, by extravaganza, which is going to be in July, for example, I will be at this level. It's okay. But let's say within the next 24 months, what is your goal in the marketing plan? For some of you, it might be, hey, I want to recover a millionaire team check, or I want to recover a president team check, or I want to recover a certain K level. There's nothing wrong. As you guys saw, my journey and everybody's journey, if you're in long enough, are going to have the peaks and valleys. And so if you're in the valley, no problem. Let's decide where you're going to be on your ascension to your peak, okay? And where's that going to be for you in 24 months, okay? For some of you, and yes, there is a longer term perspective here, right? There is over the next 5 years and 10 years, but we're going to focus on the 24 months. So when you've decided for yourself in your heart, in your mind, what's aligned in your goal in the next 24 months, then my suggestion would be to share it with your group. And as the leader of the group, I would make sure that you're suggesting that people share, and that the dynamic of the group becomes one that it's so supportive and it's just so dynamic, and that people feel like they want to share. They know that they're sharing in a safe environment. They know that they're supported. Part of the reason why you share your goal is because once you put it out into the universe and other people have heard it, they can now support you in that. And you're creating a certain level of accountability when you do that. So my suggestion would be definitely to share whatever your 24-month goals are in the group, and let it be heard, let it be supported, let you be accountable. And it does make a difference to put it out in the universe. And by the way, sharing it with your team also is a great thing, because the more your team sees that you're going for something and understands that you're going for something, and that you're authentic about it also, because you're sharing, and it may not be easy to share because it may be getting back to a level instead of that. And it might be them knowing you're not at a level, but you getting back there, and they're a part of it also, because they're going to have to also grow and reach the levels for you to get there as well. Okay. So number one, the 100 conversations, okay, system, share it, design it, share it. Number two, go through the flow videos, the masterclass videos for Radhika, talk about it, what the ahas were, what you're realizing, okay? Make sure that's completed. By the way, one other piece on that, you can start to work on your flow. If you might already have one, you can implement some things that Radhika talked about. This is not part of the assignment. Not everybody has to turn in a flow, because we're going to be working on flow in the next masterclass. And then there will be some assignments about turning in flow. But now just take the information, go as far as you want with it, discuss it. That's important. Third piece, come up with your 24-month goal, share it also, right? So get it down, write it down, share it with the group. And the last piece is really going to be this piece of personal development, which, we're going to pick one book, and we've picked the one book. Okay. And part of your assignment is to purchase this book wherever you're going to purchase it. If you've got a Borders, or you like to go down to a physical bookstore, great. If not, you can do Amazon. We know it comes in multiple languages, but it is going to be creating, a book club within your accountability group. Why? Because personal development is important, because books have knowledge. There's no lack of knowledge that's out there. Getting and finding the knowledge and implementing the knowledge and doing something, there can be a lack in that, but there's no lack of knowledge. Okay. So we know people are all over the place when it comes to books. Some people love audiobooks. Some people love to read books. Some people don't read very often. Okay. So this is also not we're not going to set the standard in how many chapters you need to read and the cadence at which you're finishing the book. This is going to be something you're going to determine, and the leader will help to determine within the group of what is best for the group. What does the group align around? our suggestion, and by the way, the book, it's called Make People Like You in 90 Seconds by Nicholas Boothman. Okay. And so that is the book. It's kind of a starter book. It is a book that as a group, you can decide how quickly you want to read it. My suggestion and our suggestion would be is that you kind of create this book club within your accountability group, within your mastermind group. Reason being is because, again, if you don't have some accountability, if there's not some set time to accomplish something and then something you're doing with it, most people default to not doing it. They get busy, they get distracted, and this is about creating new skills. This is about creating, new mastery. And so, get together, everybody get the book. By the way, just purchasing the book and having it is a first step. And then deciding, are you going to read a couple of chapters? Are you going to get together once a month and talk about the book? Are you going to try to go all together at the same cadence? Are you going to leave it a little bit more free flowing? Figure out for yourselves what works depending on the group. Some of you might, based on the group, decide you're going to do weekly chapter reads. I don't know. It's for you guys to figure out, and it's based on the composition of the group. But this is the other part of the assignment. And so these are the 4 assignments. You will have a checklist that you can go and fill out to once you've completed the assignments. You have until the end of the month to do that. Then we're going to be accumulating all of the results of all of the teams, the percentage of completion, the questions that you have around the DMO flow and business flow, and preparing for the next mastermind. And so the next mastermind, this is a save the date right now. The next mastermind session is going to be taking place virtually, and it's going to be taking place on October 16th. All right. So just make sure that is, and we'll get you the time exactly when it's going to be happening. You're going to have the information. It's going to be happening all together in the same place that we, had also the virtual, if you were attending the virtual and you were not in person with us in Vegas. And so October 16th, it's our next session. Put it onto your calendars. And just ending up here, on this mastermind, it is the first time for us. It's the first time for you guys. So one of the things that we want to be conscious of is really keeping the content to the mastermind. We know that there's a lot of groups. There's different tab team groups and chat groups, and you guys have your own groups. And this is one more group. So let's make sure that the content here, we keep it really specific to just what we're talking about in the mastermind, the assignments we're giving in the mastermind, anything that relates to supporting through the month, the assignments, and making sure that everyone is, advancing in what they need to be doing. And let's keep, anything outside of the mastermind that doesn't belong there outside, because if not, it'll end up just kind of diluting what we're trying to accomplish here. And the value will be also diminished. And we don't want to diminish the value. We want to make sure that this is, something that's highly valuable and it's respectful of the time of yourselves, of the people that you're with in the mastermind, also the time that the key account managers are going to be spending with you to support you, because we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are participating. And eventually we will have thousands of people that are participating. So we want to start this in the right way, create the right culture, bring the right value, and make sure that the content and everything that's happening here is in the right spirit, and that we don't veer off and venture off into areas that are not beneficial and helping us accomplish the objective. So I want to say congratulations. I want to say this is the beginning. It doesn't matter how long you've been in Herbalife. We have never done anything like this before. And, this is the beginning of a process for us, which also through time will improve and add more value and more than we can actually see at this point in time. So thank you for your time. I look forward to talking to you and being a part of what's going to happen on the 16th and taking the next step at helping you to design and to develop your business flows and to just be month by month working alongside of you and helping each and every one of you on your journey to get to where you want to get to. So thank you guys for your time. Let's go out there and make this happen, make the most out of the next few weeks, and we will see you on the 16th of October.